Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel. My name is Paulina and I have a reading for you today. I'm also going to be posting some shorts, so keep an eye out for those. They will be coming in, trickling in on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Substack, maybe Threads. And I think I'm going to start posting short readings on Instagram if you're on there. My name is Paulina Louise Perlitz, or maybe it's just Paulina Perlitz, I think, under there. So if you want to check that out, there should be some shorts there and everywhere else I've mentioned. But anyway, some people don't like YouTube, so that's why I said that. So that will be coming the next couple days. But thanks for being here with me. And this reading is called Quantum Field Part 2. Because I did a little bit of a reading about that subject matter and I wanted to get back into it. So let's just get an energy card and then I'm going to talk a little about some of the ideas that I've been experiencing. The Chariot. So something's happening in your life where you're getting the green light. It's like all systems go. Something energetically has shifted where something that you've said, hey, it would be really great if that happened, is happening. And that's really exciting. And I think that the energy I'm feeling from you is that you're almost distrusting that this could happen. And also some feeling here that it feels too fated, it feels like you're used to working hard for things and pushing to make things happen. And you kind of pushed for this to happen. But then at a certain point, I'm feeling that you were like, well, c'est la vie. What will be, that's life. You were just like, well, if it happens, great. If not, this is the situation. But it's happening. And you're seeing through some illusion here. You're seeing through some fantasy. It could be the fantasy that you're stuck, maybe, is one thing here. The fantasy that you don't, that things will get worse and worse. Yeah, I was listening to this book called Reality Transurfing, which I really recommend, and I'll put below. I posted it today. It's by a physicist, and it was talking about kind of, I guess a simple way to say it is like consciously switching timelines, and that while there may be fate, there's also like an infinite number of fates that we can create. He has a lot of ideas, but one thing he said was that in a vacuum, such as like, is a black hole a vacuum? I'm not sure, but in a vacuum, like you can think of a literal vacuum where it's just empty air, there is pre-matter, there's still something forming, and they don't know exactly what it looks like because they know that matter forms and then dies over and over in a vacuum. So I think I'm trying to say that the things that you want are going to come for you too, because it's almost like a magnet. He also said in one part, that bodies are magnetized to each other. So that could be something here, that there's some person that you feel that you want to be with, or that these events occurring that are pushing your life forward will bring more contact with this person. And that could be. I'm also thinking though that perhaps your energy and your vibration is changing, and some of these old things that you were like, hey, that looks pretty good, will not be as attractive to you anymore, because you'll be thinking, you're thinking on a higher plane, on a higher sort of a higher ground. And also with the Seven of Wands reverse that we got, Seven of Cups reverse, sorry, which is about disillusionment and really relates to the aspect Neptune square North Node or Neptune square Saturn, which can be about dreams dissolving, goals changing and dissolving, or just being comfortable with something being unclear, being comfortable with not knowing, being comfortable with things being, with Neptune, it's sort of about this like misty, foggy becoming feeling, relating to the matter forming. That it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and we don't really know exactly what it looks like. I'm also thinking of dark matter in space, where there's like, I think we only know what 2% of the matter in space is, relating because it relates to, or maybe it's 3%, relates to like the stuff on Earth, like carbon and whatever, oxygen. And then all the other stuff, we actually don't know what is out there. So I don't know, there's like a theme here of space and galaxies and physics and yeah, something's changing. Something is pushing you ahead, pushing your, and it is your goals. I was gonna say it is something that you wanted, and yeah. I think also you're pushing through the illusion that like you can't have what you want. So that may be empowering, or it could also be frustrating. And I'm sorry, I'm at a dog park and there's people yelling at their dogs. A lot of people like to get out their frustration just in general at their dogs at this dog park. It's very interesting to watch, and it's, you know, it actually relates to the book, because the book talks about how structures are these pendulums that have like goals and thoughts that are like held by a group mind, and you have to either fit in with that structure or find a place in that structure, or like you'll be pushed away from that structure. There may be something like that happening. I was gonna say the structure of this dog park, it just happens to be that people, a lot of older people come here and they're frustrated in their lives, and they see other people yelling at their dogs and they think, I'm gonna do that too. So I don't know, it's just like a side thought. Maybe there's like somebody that you were like, this is how they behave in the past, and so you matched that behavior to engage with them. But that's sort of the trap here that I'm talking about. There's something that you're abstaining from. You've removed yourself maybe from a situation. It has to do with how you're being pushed forward. Page of Swords. I'm sorry. Yeah. Page of Swords reverse. I can't talk. I have Ace of Swords on the mind too. And I just read an alternative like reading of Ace of Swords since I said it out of my subconscious. I was just like reading my book about I'm trying to look for it. It just has like all the descriptions of what means what in tarot, and it's like an old Rider-Waite book, but it's actually said the Ace of Swords reversed, which again just came out of my head and was the wrong. This is Page of Swords. It said that it was about marriage, which I thought was interesting. I was like, I never heard that interpretation. So I don't know, that could be on your mind, marriage, or like somebody that maybe there's somebody who's married that you are interested in. I'm also hearing like, I just heard the words can't let go. There's someone you can't let go of, that it's sort of like, I just feel that you keep returning to thoughts of this person or some reality with this person. And it's not to say that that can't happen, but I do want to say that you need to just let go of that, because if it's meant for you, like law of attraction, you know, there will be a gravity force that pulls you literally towards this other person in space and time, in the space-time continuum. You have to remember that other people have free will as well. So I'm feeling with the Page of Swords though that there's something that you've been studying, or like there's something you've been like looking into. Maybe you're spending time just being inquisitive, like researching things. And also there could be somebody who's putting their focus towards you in the, I want to say on the internet, because we're here on the internet. There could be more energy coming at you in terms of thought forms. And also just maybe there's one particular person that it's sort of like you're looking at them and they're looking at you. I'm hearing witch's mirror. I'll just interpret that as like, you know, a witch's mirror is supposed to like absorb energy. It's like a special kind of weird little mirror, and it's actually like a convex mirror, so you can't really see yourself. You see like a distortion. It's supposed to be about looking into other realities, is what it's supposed to be about. Similar to a crystal ball, which I know a lot of people think is BS, but crystal ball actually is like tea leaves, you know, or cloud reading. It's what you see and interpret. So anyway, yeah, there's just something here about that keeps coming up about with the witch's mirror. It's like looking into some other reality. Like maybe you see yourself, if you have a witch's mirror in the hallway, you see yourself there in that convex mirror. I'm also thinking of this poetry book by, is it John, oh god, he's a famous writer from Yale, and it's called Self-Portrait Through a Convex Mirror. It's so great. I'll put that below. I'm forgetting his last name. Is it John something? I don't know. Self-Portrait Through a Convex Mirror. It's similar to the witch idea. I want to say you're seeing yourself in distortion, and also you're not open to some of these realities that are at hand. Like there's multiple options, even if you feel stuck, even if you feel frustrated, and they're going to be opening themselves to you. The more that we fight against what is, the more we create more of what is. Sorry. So I'll probably get cut off a bunch because I keep encountering people. I think there's just a lot of energy in my car right now because I'm seeing some new perspectives, and so people keep sort of swarming around my car, like looking in, and it's weird. That may be a feeling that you have, like a fishbowl feeling, like almost like it's all on you. It's all on you to figure this out, and that's just simply not true. It's up to you to not fight against your situation and to think of situations that would be better, because it's sort of similar to the pendulum swing, where like if you're just like this sucks, it's gonna just create more of that. I'm getting a feeling of injustice. There's something here about you have like a deep feeling of something being unjust, okay? And it could have to do with, like I was saying, like just using the reading as a microcosm, that like there's people swarming around you and just being like, figure it out, do it, figure it out, what are you doing, what's going on in there? Because there is a lot of energy coming from you. There's a lot of like energy about, because you're changing, you're morphing and growing, and a lot of people are not, especially I want to say some older people get very set in their ways. That may be why there was swarming around my car. When we're in a change and a vibration, people do want to watch. People do want to say, oh shit, look what they're doing. I mean, look at me. Of course I'm obsessed with alopecia because I have it and I can't not be, and I'm a walking poster girl for the cause, and I have to be. But I was told I would never see a stitch of hair again on my whole body. Mind you, I had no eyebrows, I had no lashes, anything for 18 years. I was told I could try this new JAK inhibitor, but most likely nothing would happen. And cut to me almost having a full head of hair, except for the sides here that are lagging, and having full body hair. That was a timeline that I had just chosen, and I had a lot of resistance to it because I grew up with alopecia. I got it when I was 12, and it was traumatic. So I had a lot of things with doctors who were rude or mean, or I felt like pushed out by the medical industry or whatever. You know, honestly, there's a lot of misogyny that goes on in the medical world. But, you know, I had to push through that and say, no, this is my healing. I need my medication. You're going to give me my medication. And I was also, with that impetus and with that energy, brought more treatments. I want to say that a lot of the people with alopecia, that momentum created this new treatment that is very new within the last 5 or 4 years, which is Illumiant, which I'm on. Anyway, not to just obsess over myself, but okay, so there's a man bringing his objects to a table, so he's gonna be coming back and forth, and he keeps like looking at me and wanting to look in here, and I think he likes interrupting me. I'm just gonna keep going because this is the energy, this is the time period that I want to do it, and I'm not gonna let it bother me. But there may be something like that where you keep getting interrupted with some goal. This could be a greater thing in life. You keep saying, hey, I want to go that way, and then something or someone interrupts that energy and says no, 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 because you've had some negative people around you, I'm feeling, And a lot of people, when they see people growing or changing, as I was going to say, it's scary for them. They don't like it. They don't want to see transformation for others because they haven't seen it for themselves. King of Pentacles. You know, it was saying in the book that some pendulums are like defunct, or some systems are defunct, and it specifically mentioned hand tools, which I thought was funny, like Neolithic hand tools. And I happen to have a hand tool that I found, like it is, I don't know the exact time period, but it is Neolithic, I would assume. Like it's Native American, I mean, I would imagine. Anyway, actually, no, maybe that's Paleolithic. You know, I'm not an architect. I mean, an architect. That felt like a Freudian slip. There's something that you're like building, something that you're designing. There's something that you like thought that you couldn't have, that it's like coming into building itself around you. Sorry about the siren. There may have been like a lot of chaos and a lot of turmoil in the last year that is like emergency all the time, okay? And that was a lot. And I feel that your energy is just now sort of winding down. And it's not even something, I don't know that it's so much what you're doing. I think it's just the energy of the universe naturally pushing you to another phase where we move beyond crisis. If you've ever done EMDR, which I did a bunch of in my past, it's a therapeutic technique where you move your eyes with a light beam back and forth. It's used for war vets, especially Vietnam vets, for PTSD. You talk about your traumatic experience and process them. It's sort of similar to how a deer in the woods shakes off a traumatic event when they're chased by a predator and then just goes on with their day. And I feel like that's what you're doing. And it's taken more time than usual because this whatever happened this year has affected you. It affected a lot of timelines. But we're gonna take from the negative, we're gonna take lessons, not to say here that like you did something wrong, but like lessons of how we play things in the future, you know, like how involved we get in other people's timelines. That's what I'm feeling here, that you got involved in someone else's timeline, someone who wanted to block you, okay? But I was gonna say with the King of Pentacles, I just was thinking of wealth and abundance and you know, my mind went to the hand tool because I was thinking of how people created abundance in the old times before civilization, you know, pre-civilized man, without like cities and buildings and homes. Native Americans, they would carve these tools out of, I'll try to find it actually. They would carve these tools out of stone and then use them, they're like multi-purpose tools for scraping or mashing or whatever. And, you know, people find them still because a lot of them are buried in sediment. So here's my, I've done a lot of research about the shape and how it's irregular for like just finding a stone. And as far as I know, these are marks made by a chisel. So this is my just thing that I found. You can see here, the finger goes here if you want to scrape, like for fish. Or if you want to pound, you can rotate it and hold it like this, and it can pound like corn or something. Or flour, I don't know, whatever they had. There's also a way here where if you hold it like this, it's like it could like gut fish or something, like a hook. And I think there's one more way. Oh yeah, holding it on the other side here. There's a different way to hold it here where it's much more of like a scraping tool if you hold it this way. Anyway, there's a couple other ways you could hold it, but I'm also trying to say like there's a way that you're holding reality that is like you just have to flip how you're holding it. Want to think of existence or living? Want to think of existence or life as like life is this tool and you're just like holding it in a way that makes more sense for you. I'm also just I was thinking about this week I'll talk more about the tool in a little bit. Right now I'm just kind of vibing on the power and the energy because I feel like it's been used by a lot of people just by the way it fits so well into the human hand. I did find this near a Native American site where other things have been found in the past, so it's not that weird that I found it. But it is weird. I use my intuition. There's something that you're finding, that you're using your intuition, and it is like the law of attraction and the law of gravity. You know, that this, I was led to this just by energy, because I think a lot about archaeology. I think a lot about the past. I am an artist and I use tools, so it stuck out to me, and I said, that's a weird rock, that's a weird shape. And then I later found upon research that a lot of hand tools have this weird shape because you know, they're just irregular. They're not something you would, like a normal stone you would find. Anyway, you're not a regular stone, you know. I think there's a lot of uniqueness that you have that you need to accept at this point in your life. I was hearing the phrase blood from a stone. I was listening to some song by the singer, was Bishop Briggs. I recently discovered her. Anyway, I just was like thinking about that blood from a stone. I think it means, in my interpretation, like, you know, this may be relevant to you. I think it means trying to get feeling or something human from something that's not, or trying to like parse out like, or elicit something like trying to push something beyond its limit, you know? That's my feeling here, that there's something that you're involved in your life that you really are just moving past, and you're realizing you can't, now I'm channeling a little bit, you can't go to the hardware store looking for milk. You can't go to the gas station asking for marijuana. I mean, actually you can, it's not real though. You can't go to the dog park and expect there's gonna be no people walking around your car. Okay, wait, that's getting a little weird. You can't go to the grocery store looking for a brand new tire. They're not gonna sell that there. So there's a little bit of that going on here. There's a person you've been returning to, or an energy or a situation you've been returning to, where it's just not gonna change, and you need to change your expectations that people have their own timelines and their own trajectories. So that's important to say here. Yeah, I was thinking about this Twilight Zone episode, I think I got cut off, where there's a girl having an operation, and we don't really know much about it in the beginning, but she's having plastic surgery, and they're talking about how she's like hideous or something, and then it turns out she's in a world where everyone has pig faces. It's like an alternate reality, but she has a beautiful face, and she was trying to be like them, you know, and so she was trying to, so it's another reality where beauty is like bad, and like having a beautiful face is like horrid, and you want to have a face that literally looks like a pig. It's a interesting theory. You know, this may be my grandfather coming through, because I do think of myself as a medium. My grandfather was a writer and knew a lot of sort of personalities, including Zero Mostel and Leonard Bernstein, and Rod Serling was one of the guys who would play poker with my grandpa. That's the guy who created Twilight Zone. Just imagine that. Zero Mostel apparently was like, he's the guy from Fiddler on the Roof. I may be saying his name wrong. But he apparently danced on the table at their house during one of these games, and it just sounds like a great group, doesn't it? Rod Serling, Zero Mostel, and Leonard Bernstein. I don't think Leonard Bernstein played piano. I mean, I don't think he played poker with them, or maybe he did, but they definitely were friends, and they would, like, my grandparents would meet up with them, or had met up with them a few times. So there's something about Leonard Bernstein. I'm gonna get back to that because I kept returning to that name. But my grandpa, you know, he was like that. He you know, he did struggle later in his life with issues, but he did write several books. One of them is Enemy at the Gates, which was made into a movie with Jude Law and Rachel Weisz. I think I mentioned it before, but that's just because I'm a channel and I channeled him before. He also wrote, I think it was Battle at Stalingrad and a few other books about World War II, which he was actually young at the time, so he was like a teenager, so he was looking at it from that perspective, but, you know, not as a soldier, I mean. Yeah, we got the Page of Swords, so my grandpa makes sense here. He had an amazing Gemini research mind. I mean, he was a Cancer, but there's Gemini stuff going on with Cancers usually, and the moon the moon being the sun sign there can be like someone who has a photographic memory. So there's something, maybe you have that, or maybe you have a lot of like knowledge. Like my grandfather won money on a game show called Tic-Tac-Toe. He won enough to send himself to grad school at Columbia. So I'm kind of talking about that kind of thing where he was like, I have no money. And he was like, because he was like a poor orphan. And then he was like, oh, why not try this game show? And a lot of people would just be like, I would never get that. What's the point of trying? But he was like, why not? And it flipped him into a whole new reality where he suddenly was able to pay for courses at Columbia because he won this game show off of like just research, data, knowledge, like trivia that he knew. You might have a mind like that where you can mimic things, or it's like photographic of things that you don't even know where they came from. That could be helpful here. There's something about the tool my grandfather is sort of saying. It's like the tool. There's tools at your disposal. There's tools that you need to look at. And it just has to do with honestly flipping your mind a little bit. And some of you may be in situations where you're like, come on, Paulina, like I'm in this, I can't get out of this. Like maybe you're incarcerated, or maybe you're like I don't think you have a phone in prison, so I don't know how you'd watch this, maybe on the computer. Or maybe you're like, let's see, I don't know, maybe you're in the hospital and they said that you're dying, and you know, that may be, you may be in a situation where you're like, I don't know how to get out of this. I just want to say that you have to align with these things happening for them to happen. It's not by accident. And that's hard to hear for a lot of people. But like, the more you can flip your mind to what you do want, the more you're changing the physics of your life. And that's very simple, and it's related to Abraham Hicks and Law of Attraction and The Secret, and also this book, Reality Transurfing. But you know, this tool really is amazing. Think of the mind of the Native American. They have no resources. They're in the middle of the woods. You know, modern society does not exist, and they're like, I want to carve my fish because this was right by a river, so that's probably what they ate. Or I want to mash this tool, or I want to like scrape this hide, and I want one tool to do all of it. That takes a lot of, I mean, it's like genius, and that's what you have to do here. You have to use what you have at your disposal in multiple ways. I don't really know what that means here. What you have at your disposal may just be a sharp mind with the Page of Swords. It may be like, you know, you've seen the possibilities, you've seen the options, and you're just like curious now, curious about what you could create. I think I've brought up before that my favorite book is A Wrinkle in Time, which is about time travel with kids and their nanny, I believe, and it's written by Madeleine L'Engle, who submitted the book to be published, I think it was 18 times. I'm just writing down her name so I remember to just look her up again because I love her. Anyway, something about Madeleine L'Engle, something about time travel, wormholes, traveling. She submitted it, I think it was 24 times to be published, and it was not published until the 24th time. She just had it in her mind. This is going to be happening, this book, and I want it to happen. It's kind of like me with the alopecia meds. Everyone said, nope, 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 not for you. Other people, they can get their hair back, not you. You've had it too long. You had it too severe. We don't have the data. And I said, I'm going to be the data. I said, just watch me. I'm going to be the data. I mean, no, I didn't literally say that, but there is variability in our reality. Some people respond to treatments over a longer period of time. How would we have the data for that? For someone with severe alopecia responding to a new treatment that's only been on the market for a couple of years, we don't have that data. You have to be the data for this change. You have to be the outlier, as Malcolm Gladwell would say. Yeah, it's just people, I'm sorry, people do keep coming up to vibe off the energy, and there's just something here that I'm vibing off of you, where it's like, I wrote down a circle of quiet, just intuitively, because that's Madeleine L'Engle's book that I have been meaning to read. I think it's about loss of a parent, but it's an adult book. Circle of quiet. You need to be in a circle of quiet. A circle is different than a square. A circle relates to the divine, and the square relates to earthly. You need to open up to that. You don't call all the shots. You can change, you can morph, but I think there's some guilt that you're putting on yourself for your situation, because there are things that happen that occur outside of our control. Other people, as I said, have their timelines that they try to suck us into or block us because of their timeline. Our goals might not align with their goals. So I feel like there's people that you're exiting the situation with. 10 of Cups. When I mentioned the Twilight Zone, it's like you feel that way. You feel like there's some structure or society where you feel ugly or less than. Could be physically or just energetically, or like you feel like you don't have what you want. You feel like, since I mentioned structures before, you feel like you're outside of this structure and you don't know how to engage within it. You're going to change the structure, okay? You're going to change. I'm just seeing you shredding papers. That image is coming to my mind. You're it's not like you're trying to hide evidence, but you're just letting go of a lot of stuff. You might want to read that book, Letting Go, by Richard Dawkins. Door slam. Door slam. There's something you're slamming the door on. Something, and it's hard. And it's almost like with this new thing that you're seeing being highlighted, here come more people to vibe up the energy. With this new thing that you're seeing being highlighted as the new option, you need a circle of quiet here. And that may be like just getting away from people for a while. You may be living in a place where there's other people, and it's like you can't get that quiet because you need to go within to find what tools you have. And you need to see that what you have is valuable. You know, we do live in a cookie cutter society. We live, I'm just gonna say it, especially in the US. It's very keep up with the Joneses, and I've prided myself in my life, really since I was a young child, on being a nonconformist. Just in any way I could, and that was actually a goal I had growing up. I remember just dressing differently on purpose to like make people, I don't know. I thought I wanted to be different. I had that as an artistic and energetic goal from a young age. I was always an artist, and I just thought I want to make a statement. Even before I had alopecia, and that necessitated looking so different that people really did look at me and stare at me. I remember being in 3rd grade and just wearing crazy hand-me-downs from my cousin and from my grandmother was a therapist and had a hoarder client who would get like designer clothes, but they looked, you know, they weren't for kids, and I just was a little bit ahead in the fashion. I did end up skipping a grade. There's something here like that, like with Aquarius or Gemini energy for you. That relates to the Page of Swords too. Where like you're unique, and you need to just realize that these structures may just maybe don't work for you. And your uniqueness actually makes a lot of people want to block you. Your energy, it's scary. It's just like these people coming up to the car watching the reading because they're scared. They're scared of the intense energy. They want to see, they want to look in and see, like, what's going on in there? What's she talking about? Who is she? Because of the aura around the car. There's a lot of reasons there's aura around my car, but 10 of Cups. This is like happy family, contentment, endings. Emotional contentment, emotional joy, you know. You need to just go towards that feeling, and it's intuition. It's just like finding this stone. I said, I want to go hike that mountain. It took me a couple tries. I had my dog, I like to hike with her. I told this story before in other readings. It's this mountain in Northeast Connecticut that I really wanted to climb, but there's a lot of lore because there's a lot of negative things that have happened there. Like people have fallen, and I did all the research of this, really back again to the Page of Swords research. I did a lot of research, and you may be doing research about how something's negative too. It's not going to work, and oh, look at all these people who failed. And I was back to this is, just so you know, this is Old Furnace State Park in Killingly. So I had a neighbor where I was living who had been like really badly wounded, like permanently, from trying to rock climb here. And then I did research. There were people who had gotten caught in caves and almost lost their leg because it was like impinged under something. There are people who've fallen 25 feet because they weren't paying attention and tripped over roots. There was a man who had, this was the weirdest thing. The day that I discovered this park, I was looking up, I had never passed by it before, and I just randomly did and was researching it, and there was a man who had died there the year before, accidentally fallen off a cliff in front of his family, which is really traumatic. But it was on May 24th, and that was the exact day that I discovered it and was researching him. And I thought, oh my god, this is weird. And I looked him up, and his last picture is him holding a fish, which represents death, Pisces, and also just change and spirituality. And I felt like it was a message from him and almost a challenge to climb it, because it was the same date, to the date, that it happened to him. And you may think like that's actually a warning to not do it, but something in me was like, I want to go up there. There's something really interesting here. So I researched all the ways, and my dog and I went this way, that way. She doesn't like this way. She doesn't want to go high. She's treacherous. She's scared of the parts where it's like there should be a guardrail and there's not, you know. She's finicky. So we tried like 3 different ways, and we went a bunch of times, and I would ask people, how did you get up there? Like, is it worth it? And then I just one day was like, I had been away for a while from this area, and then I returned for something I was doing, and I just said, I'm gonna climb it. And that was the day I found this tool right after that climb. So there's something here about, so you have to see from a higher perspective. I had to go to the top of that mountain to come back down and see this and locate it, because immediately I thought, I want a memento for my trip to like remember, you know, like something I can remember this by, because it really was an amazing view, and it was high up, and it was high adrenaline, high energy. I almost felt like it was a vision quest, because I had mild hypoxia when I got up there, so because of the elevation, my oxygen levels were a little different, and I was like, it was very mythical actually. But you know, there's something here about like being super high energy, because you've seen from a different perspective, and then you can descend the mountain and take up your tools and use them in different ways. And that sounds basic, but that's what I want to impart here. The man's coming back to get things from his car and stare at me. Yeah. With that Twilight Zone episode, I feel like there's, oh, I was also gonna mention No One Is Alone from Into the Woods, which is a Sondheim play. No one is alone, truly. Mother cannot guide you halfway through the wood. No one left beside you. You decide what's good You decide alone. No one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes. So, I don't know, there could be something here about forgiveness, and it is relating to your path, because it's holding you back energetically. They always say it doesn't mean we have to let these people back in our life, it doesn't mean we have to move forward with them. There's something here about doing your thing, no matter whether people are judging you or looking in on you, and ignoring what they're doing, you know? So, the more that you can sort of, you can observe people who are like wanting to cause harm or negative, but the book, Reality Transurfing, suggests that you pretend that you're not there and that you're just watching some movie and not engage. So it's sort of a different, detached view, and it is created by a scientist. But I just want to say, the message of the reading is, in terms of your field, what you're projecting, it's changed. There's something new in your field. It's attracting, and it has to do with being receptive and realizing actually where you're wasting your energy. You may have done a lot of busy work this year where you were like, don't like this, how about this, how about this, how about this, not working, and then at a certain point you were like, ugh, can't do that. Was this the year of the horse, maybe? I think that's about just like the metaphor of like riding the horse, and sometimes the horse is wild and sometimes you have to tame it. There's something you had to tame here. I know it's not this year, but I'm thinking the year of the rat, because I think that's my year, Chinese horoscope. There may be something here about like discernment, or just like wisdom, or like being shrewd, because I think you have come up against a lot of naysayers, or a lot of energy that was not accepting of you, and that created a force within you where you were, in terms of physics and your field, you were like, no, and now you may have just removed yourself from a lot of these situations and removed the care of what others think, because now I'm just feeling yes, and it feels like in your solar plexus there's some energy moving. I do have a stone here. I can only find I had my tourmaline. I don't know where it is. I should really find it. Okay, I was looking through my runes and I did pick R, which I think is Rado, which is about, I think it's about a wheel turning, which relates a lot to the reading. It's about movement and energy and flow towards, like, it's like the radius of a wheel is what it relates to. There may be something also just within your radius. Like, there's something in your field, in your radius, it's different. And it's allowing this space. It's allowing, I think it's detachment. And it's like, it's not being like resigned to your situation, but it's like, I'm almost seeing like a kid doing a painting. And I feel like that's how you're playing with your life now. You're like, oh, just gonna put some trees here. I'm just thinking of Bob Ross when he's like, I'm just gonna sneak in a little tree here, put a little snow here. You know, they make fun of how he like says things. But he's not a great painter in terms of like the subject matter. It's just like sort of basic. But he is a good teacher. And I will say he has a vision, okay? So it's like he's helping people learn basic techniques to be artists. And it's like, learning that stuff is about scrape a little here, pull off a little there. It's step by step. And he used tools like our reading. Bob Ross. There may be something that you're like, I don't want to do that. That's lame. And that's like everybody else. But like, you know, because he had to, if you read about his life, it's interesting. And he doesn't come from like money or anything. And he just was doing paintings and was like, I want to make some money here. And it's sort of like he is a variation or a variable that's different, or an outlier. Because it is commercial what he's doing, but I still think he's an artist and he is unique. So it's all how you look at it. So how you look at it. I got my jasper, my tourmaline, and I forget what this is called. It's something really cool. But it's like, I also have citrine somewhere, but it's hidden. I just feel like, yeah, since I'm really being intuitive today, there's something that's like a missing piece. Like my citrine, I always find it, but it's very tiny and it gets lost easily. But it's so powerful, and I can actually feel the energy, which sounds silly, but I really can. There's something that you like, it's just a little bit of a missing piece here in terms of moving forward. And I think it may be like you sort of getting on board with, because I think part of it is that you're like, oh, it's this easy for things to change. Oh, it's just that I have to walk through that door. And yes, it is, because it has to do with how the energy that you're putting out, and you may have not felt before like you deserved for things to change. Okay. This relates to blood flow circulation in the heart. This relates to mental clarity. I also have an amethyst somewhere in my car, but I'm not going to utilize that. But this is amethyst. It's a very important stone for me, and I can feel the energy. It just feels like spiritual and blockage being cleared, and I feel it in my kidneys. I don't know if that's real, but I feel like stuff being cleared and making it easier for me to see in my third eye. That may be not at all what it's for. I think maybe throat chakra, what it's meant for. Yeah. So anyway, these are just some things to think about, that like you need to just love yourself. And I know that sounds basic, but the more you love yourself, the more you enjoy what you're doing, and you choose things that you want to do and do them, as long as they're like okay and within reason, good things are going to happen, my friend. And you need to be ready to let in the good. You need to be ready to let in this new energy, like the radon wheel. I think the invention of the first wheel was it the Stone Age? I don't fucking know, but listen, it's like, it's not the invention of the wheel what you're doing, okay? You're just moving forward in your life, and it's like, it will show you that, it is showing you that, like, you create your reality. And I'm seeing also that it's something that you've waited for, that you maybe put out feelers for a long time ago and said, hey, I need this, I really need this. And then suddenly something shifted. I just feel like there's a chink in your armor, I'm hearing. And I'm also relating that to Shakespeare, to Midsummer Night's Dream, when Pyramus and Thisbe speak through a chink in the wall. Maybe my step-grandpa coming through, because he played the wall when we did Midsummer Night's Dream in community neighborhood theater when I was a kid. I was Titania, by the way. That's right. I got that fairy queen vibe here. It was the perfect role for me, really, because my grandmother raised us believing in fairies and fairy folk. So I was a little confused as a child. Like, she legit believed in it because she was Irish, like just chock full Celtic. And so I thought, yeah, I'm the fairy queen. That's right. But my grandpa played the wall, my step grandpa, and he said, I think he said, through this chink, Pyramus and Thisbe will meet, which is one of the lines. It's like, and it's relating to the chink in your armor, this letting this energetic flow happen. You don't need to be so guarded because something bad happened. It's not all gonna turn out bad, and what you learned from that is just basically focus on your timeline and to detach, not don't hop into others' storylines that you don't want to be part of. Yeah, there's something that you were waiting for with the Three of Wands reversed, that it wasn't coming, and now it's arriving, and it's overwhelming, and it's exciting, and it's opening up doors of possibilities. And I feel that you're actually thinking about some people that you've left behind and feeling sad or worried for them, but they've got their own timelines, they've got their own things that they're creating, they've got their own structures they're building with what they have and their tools and their experiences. So focus on you, King of Wands. Excuse me, hiccuping. Did you get scared straight? I mean, not in terms of like being gay, but I was just thinking about how people hiccup and they scared them to stop having hiccups. Yeah, there may be something here where you feel like you can't be in some area or with some people or with some situation anymore because it's scary and it's dangerous. And I would listen to that intuition, and that's the chink here, that you're letting things be as they are, knowing that you've put out a lot of rockets of desire and you've done the things. Like you've called the people, you've emailed the people, you've told the people, whatever it is. Maybe it's a new job, a new place to live, or like some new situation, a new relationship, or something new. You know, I'm an Aries rising, so I pick up on a lot of new situations. And my path is to say, based on books by Jan Spiller, which I love, is to say, let me help you find a new beginning. Let me help you. That's supposed to be my energy. Let me help you find a new pathway. Or any Aries rising. Scorpio rising would say, let me help you let something die, or let me help you let something change. It's a different energy. I'm Scorpio sun, but it's just different energy. I'm just coming into the reading. There's some degrees that I wanted to mention. I'm at 29 degrees of Aries, which is the final degree, and it means that I'm dealing with the final feelings or situations regarding appearance, and also just anger, being alone, being a warrior, all things that relate to my life. You know, I remember being 5 years old and being told no is no, because I would have tantrums because I had just strong intentions that people were like, she's 5, you can't give her what she wants. I'm almost feeling that here, like you felt like the universe wasn't giving you what you wanted for a long time now, and you were tantruming. No, I want that. I really want that. But as you did that, you just kept pointing out how more and more of it's not coming. So I'm seeing the color green and just jade, the stone jade. I think that just brings like healing, like spiritual calm and healing. That may be like a stone you want to interact with. But there may be someone named Jade that's important, or a J name. I'm feeling like people's roles are changing in your life. Like there's people who you were like, I decide you are this for me, and now you're realizing you can't go to the hardware store and get milk. As I said before, you're not going to get what you want from these people in that way, and it's hard, and it's almost, I'm hearing the word devastating. And the thing is, you're going to move forward, and you're going to meet new people, and and those old relationships will change again. Only constant is change. Niels Bohr, is that his name? I was thinking of this physicist. He's very important, and he talks really about law of attraction stuff. I'm going to put some info below. He's someone you should look up. Is it Niels Bohr or something? I don't know. There's something here about like a devil face. Maybe that, you know that movie, The Witch, I'm thinking of? When there's, in the end, there's the, like, the ram turns into the devil. I just saw that image in my mind of the ram charging ahead at the family and like hurting them, I think, mortally in that movie. That movie is about a family being outcast and living on their own and sort of being subsumed by evil, and in the end the girl floats above it all. Like, you know, she makes a deal with the devil, but she does like float above it all and watch it as a witch from above. There's something that, like, or just this situation in your life where you're chained, things are moving forward, and it's almost like you're like, hey, I wanted this forever ago, why didn't it happen? Now it's happening now, without my consent, without me working hard, without my say so. It's like you're seeing things from above, and it's not that you made a deal with the devil. It's more that you made a deal with yourself. You signed papers with yourself that you're not gonna be down in those bad energies. You're gonna rise above. It's almost like in that movie she uses the deal with the devil to get her own power. It's something here. I don't want to get into the negative connotation of the devil. I don't really believe in the devil. I am thinking of this song, Shut-dee-do. We used to sing this at my summer camp at Camp Woodstock in Northeast Connecticut. I went to that camp for years. Shut-dee-do, keep out the devil. Shut-dee-do, keep the devil in the night. Shut-dee-do, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. And he's singing it around. Something about community here. Something about lacking community, being isolated. I was going to mention, again, sorry, with the 29th degree, there's something that, since I have that as my rising sign, there's something that it's like you're at the fucking end of it. You're at the very, very tail end now here. You are at the last degree, because really I'm cusping Taurus. I'm on the Aries-Taurus cusp, which I do have Taurus stuff. Like I used to be a hoarder of craft items, or I guess just making art is hoarding, because you keep having these papers show up, or canvases. What else? Taurus rising. I love the arts. So it makes sense that I'm on that cusp. I've had weight problems in my life where I gained weight or lost too much weight, which relates to Taurus and food. Also, I can just be stubborn. So anyway, there's something also here where like you're at the end, you're at the tail end, and you're also cusping something else. Just like I'm cusping Taurus in my rising sign. You're like, oh, could it actually be this? Could it be things that I want? Could it be things I create? I'd also talked about in the book how we all notice different realities. You know, somebody living on the streets, like not even in a car, like truly homeless. They're noticing, this is a reality that was given in the book. They're noticing authority figures looking at them. They're noticing empty bottles. They're noticing the competition for that empty bottle. They're noticing trash that they can pick up and use. Another person on the same street who's like a business professional who's like got money, they're noticing like, how much does that taxi cost? Like, what's the rent spike on this street that I live on? Like, you know, where am I gonna get my next meal? Like, they're noticing pretty girls on the street, or just whatever it is. It's a different consciousness, but it's the same street. Okay, it's the point. And that's what you have to do. And it sounds hard, but it's almost like being an actor and switching your role. He also gave the example of a play that we see. You know, I mean, really into theater. I used to do plays a lot growing up, and I have seen a lot of plays. My sisters were actresses and whatever. My grandmother was really into theater. So I have seen a lot of theater, and it's sort of, he gave the example that if you see the same play in a different theater with different actors, you get a different energy. So that's kind of what I'm asking you to do here. Same life story, same setup, same variables, same you, different situation. Imagine what you want. Imagine that situation. Imagine how you would feel, and then let it show up in your reality. So this was not a love reading, which I usually do a lot of relationship readings, because I have a Libra, I have the Sun in the 7th house, I have Mercury and Mars in Libra, and Mars is ruling my chart, so I'm very Libra-esque. Anyway, but I will not be doing that, because that would be like part 3 of quantum fields, so that will be coming. I have not been saying this, but if you could please follow, I would so appreciate it, because I am trying to get to the point where I can have a membership, which would just pay for like my gas money and like, you know, food and stuff, or just like probably not that much food. At least dog food, that would be helpful. So if you could just follow, like, and subscribe, or comment, even if it's negative comments. You know, no press is bad press, is one of my old therapists used to say. The reading is over. Thank you so much for coming. Namaste. I'm a yogi, so I'm going to impart that. The divine in me sees the divine in you. And I just remember when I was talking about the witch's mirror, just don't discount what you're seeing, because we all have second sight. Some of us just aren't in tune with it because we grew up in whatever environment we grew up in. So what do you see when you look in your third eye and look forward? One really good way to work with the witch's mirror, which is about looking into different alternate realities. One really good way to do that is to talk to your future self, which is a meditation process where you ask your future self what they think or feel, where things are going, and just be receptive and wait for the answers. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.